Zara Johnson sat in her car across from the Riverside Hotel, her hands gripping the steering wheel as she watched the most satisfying scene of her life unfold. The hotel's automatic doors burst open and Ryan stumbled out, doubled over and clutching his stomach. His face was bright red and swollen, tears streaming down his cheeks as he gasped for air. Behind him, Brittany Cole emerged, her blonde hair disheveled, mascara running down her face as she scratched at her burning skin. "Call 911. Ryan screamed to the valet, his voice hoarse and panicked. "Something's wrong. We need help." Zara allowed herself a small smile as she watched her husband of 8 years suffer the consequences of his betrayal. The pepper spray had worked exactly as she'd planned. Every capsule she'd carefully inserted into those contraceptive packets had found its target. But this moment of sweet revenge had started 3 weeks ago with a discovery that shattered her world. It was a Tuesday morning when Zara had been looking for Ryan's gym towel to add to the laundry. She'd unzipped his black Nike bag, expecting to find sweaty clothes and his protein powder. Instead, her fingers closed around a small, familiar box. She pulled it out, staring at the package of contraceptives in confusion. Zara's heart stopped. They'd been trying to have a baby for 2 years. She'd been taking fertility treatments, tracking her cycle, doing everything possible to conceive. Why would Ryan have contraceptives? And not just one, there were 3 boxes, different brands, hidden in the bottom compartment of his gym bag. She sank onto their bedroom floor, still in her purple scrubs from her night shift at City General Hospital. Her beautiful brown skin felt cold despite the morning sun streaming through their windows. At 32, Zara had always prided herself on being smart, observant. She was a registered nurse, trained to notice details. How had she missed this? Her phone buzzed with a text from Ryan. "Working late again tonight, babe. Don't wait up. Love you. Love you." Those words felt like poison now. Zara's mind raced back through the past few months. The late nights at the office. The new cologne he'd started wearing. How he'd become protective of his phone, always taking it to the bathroom, keeping it face down during dinner. The way he'd stopped initiating physical contact, claiming he was tired from work stress. She'd attributed it all to pressure from his job as an insurance executive. She'd been supportive, understanding, picking up extra shifts at the hospital to help with finances while he supposedly worked toward a promotion. What a fool she'd been. Standing slowly, Zara walked to their bathroom mirror and looked at herself. Her reflection showed a woman with warm brown eyes, full lips, and natural hair pulled back in a neat bun. She'd always been told she was beautiful, but lately Ryan had made her feel invisible. Now she knew why. She took photos of the contraceptives with her phone, then carefully placed them back exactly where she'd found them. Her nursing training kicked in. Document everything, gather evidence, think logically. Over the next hour, Zara went through their house with new eyes. She found receipts in Ryan's car for restaurants she'd never been to, restaurants he'd claimed were business dinners. She discovered credit card statements hidden in his home office showing charges for lingerie in sizes she didn't wear, flowers she'd never received, and hotel rooms booked during times he'd said he was working late. The evidence was overwhelming. Her husband was having an affair. Zara sat at their kitchen table, surrounded by proof of Ryan's betrayal. She thought about confronting him immediately, demanding answers, throwing him out. But something stopped her. Maybe it was her nursing background, where she'd learned that hasty decisions in crisis situations often led to poor outcomes. Or maybe it was the way her grandmother had always told her, "Baby girl, when someone shows you who they really are, believe them. But make sure you're ready for what comes next." She wasn't ready. Not yet. Instead, Zara made a decision that would change everything. She wouldn't be the crying, begging wife. She wouldn't give Ryan the chance to gaslight her or make excuses. She would be smart about this. Strategic. If Ryan wanted to play games, she'd play too. But she'd play to win. That evening, when Ryan came home at nearly midnight smelling like unfamiliar perfume, Zara was in bed pretending to sleep. He slipped in beside her, and for the first time in their marriage, his touch made her skin crawl. "How was work?" she asked softly, not turning around. "Exhausting," he lied easily. "Big presentation tomorrow. Might be another late night." "Of course," Zara whispered, already planning her next move. As Ryan fell asleep beside her, completely unaware that his secret was out, Zara stared at the ceiling. Tomorrow she would start building her case. She would gather more evidence, consult a lawyer, and plan her exit strategy. But first, she had a special surprise to prepare for her cheating husband and his mistress. Something that would make sure they never forgot the day they decided to betray Zara Johnson. The pepper spray idea had come to her during her shift the next day, when she treated a patient who'd accidentally gotten pepper spray in his eyes during a self-defense class. As she'd flushed his burning eyes and watched him suffer, a plan began forming in her mind. It was perfect, poetic justice, and completely untraceable. The next morning, Zara woke up before her alarm, her mind sharp and focused despite barely sleeping. Ryan was already in the shower, humming the same song he'd been humming for weeks, a tune she now realized probably reminded him of his mistress. She made coffee and breakfast like always, playing the role of the devoted wife while mentally cataloging every lie he'd told her. When Ryan came downstairs in his navy blue suit, freshly shaved and smelling like expensive cologne, Zara had to stop herself from throwing the hot coffee in his face. "Morning, beautiful," he said, kissing her forehead like he'd done 1,000 times before. The casual affection felt like a slap now that she knew the truth. "Morning," she replied, handing him his travel mug. "What time will you be home tonight?" "Probably late again. We're still working on that merger." Another lie delivered so smoothly it was almost impressive. After Ryan left, Zara called in sick to work for the first time in 3 years. She had research to do. She started with Ryan's computer. He'd always been careless with passwords, using variations of their wedding date and her name. The irony wasn't lost on her that his betrayal was protected by passwords honoring their marriage. His email revealed a treasure trove of evidence. Messages to someone named Brittany Cole, starting innocent enough 6 months ago but quickly turning intimate. Zara read every single exchange, her stomach churning as she discovered the depth of their relationship. Ryan had told Brittany he was unhappy in his marriage, that Zara was cold and distant. He'd shared intimate details about their fertility struggles, making jokes about Zara's baby obsession. He'd even sent Brittany photos from their anniversary dinner last month, captioning it "playing the part." But it was the recent messages that made Zara's blood boil. Ryan and Brittany were planning a weekend getaway to celebrate her promotion at the insurance company where they both worked. They joked about the contraceptives Ryan bought, with Brittany writing, "Better safe than sorry, especially with your wife's baby fever." Zara screenshotted everything, creating a digital folder she labeled "Evidence" on her laptop. Next, she researched Brittany Cole. Social media made it easy. Brittany was 26, blonde, and worked in Ryan's department as a claims specialist. Her Instagram was full of gym selfies, expensive dinners, and photos with friends at trendy bars. She was attractive in an obvious way, with perfectly straight teeth and professionally done highlights. What struck Zara most was how different Brittany was from her. Where Zara was sophisticated and natural, Brittany was flashy and artificial. It felt like Ryan had chosen the complete opposite of his wife, which somehow made the betrayal cut deeper. Digging deeper into Brittany's social media, Zara discovered she had a boyfriend, or at least she'd had one until recently. His name was Trevor, and judging by the photos, he was a decent-looking guy who seemed genuinely in love with Brittany. The last photo of them together was posted 2 months ago. Around the same time Ryan's messages with Brittany turned romantic. Poor Trevor probably had no idea why his girlfriend had suddenly become distant. Zara spent the afternoon driving by Brittany's apartment complex, a trendy development on the other side of town. She noted the security cameras, the parking layout, the nearby restaurants. If she was going to execute her plan perfectly, she needed to understand the geography of their affair. That evening, she was back in perfect wife mode when Ryan came home. She'd made his favorite dinner, grilled chicken with roasted vegetables, and opened a bottle of wine. "This is nice," Ryan said, seeming genuinely pleased. "What's the occasion?" "Do I need an occasion to cook for my husband?" Zara asked, refilling his wine glass. She'd barely touched her own. As they ate, Zara asked casual questions about his work, his coworkers, his upcoming projects. Ryan answered easily, weaving Brittany into the conversation as just another colleague. He was a good liar, Zara had to admit. If she hadn't seen the evidence herself, she might have believed him. "How's that new girl working out? The one in claims?" Zara asked innocently. "Brittany? She's doing well. Smart girl, catches on quickly." Ryan's voice was perfectly neutral, but Zara noticed how his jaw tightened slightly when he said Brittany's name. "That's good. It's important to have reliable people on your team." "Absolutely." Ryan reached across the table and took her hand. "Just like it's important to have a reliable wife at home." The audacity was breathtaking. Zara squeezed his hand and smiled. "I'll always be here for you, Ryan. You can count on that." Later that night, as Ryan showered before bed, Zara went through his gym bag again. The contraceptives were still there, along with breath mints, cologne, and other evidence of his preparation for his affairs. She took more photos, documenting exactly how everything was positioned. She also found something new, a hotel key card for the Riverside Hotel. The same hotel she'd driven by earlier during her reconnaissance mission. Zara smiled as a plan crystallized in her mind. The Riverside Hotel would be perfect for what she had in mind. The next morning after Ryan left for work, Zara drove to 3 different pharmacies across town. At each one she purchased pepper spray, the kind that came in small, discreet containers. She paid cash and wore sunglasses and a baseball cap, keeping her head down around security cameras. Back home, she researched the contraceptives Ryan had been buying. She studied the packaging, the size of the individual packets, the way they opened. With her medical background, she understood exactly how to modify them without leaving obvious traces. It would take patience and precision, but Zara had both. She'd spent years as a nurse, learning to stay calm under pressure and execute complex procedures flawlessly. This would be no different. As she worked on her laptop that afternoon, researching divorce lawyers and documenting Ryan's financial assets, Zara felt something she hadn't experienced in months: control. For too long, she'd been the unknowing victim in her own marriage. Ryan and Brittany had been making decisions about her life, her future, her health, without her knowledge. They'd laughed at her, pitted her, used her. Not anymore. Zara Johnson was taking back her power, and she was going to make sure Ryan and Brittany never forgot the lesson she was about to teach them. The Starbucks near Ryan's office building was busy during the lunch rush, which made it perfect for Zara's surveillance. She sat in the corner with her laptop and a large coffee, wearing dark jeans and a baseball cap that partially hid her face. To anyone watching, she looked like just another remote worker taking advantage of free Wi-Fi. She'd been there for an hour when she spotted them. Ryan and Brittany walked in together, not touching but standing closer than co-workers should. Brittany was even prettier in person, with the kind of polished look that came from expensive salon visits and a careful makeup routine. She wore a tight black dress that showed off her figure and heels that clicked confidently across the tile floor. Zara watched as Ryan ordered for both of them, his hand briefly touching the small of Brittany's back as they moved to wait for their drinks. The gesture was intimate, possessive. It made Zara's stomach turn. They found a table near the window, and Zara strained to hear their conversation over the noise of the coffee shop. Brittany was complaining about her workload, pouting prettily as Ryan leaned across the table to console her. "The weekend can't come fast enough," Brittany said, running her finger around the rim of her coffee cup. "I need some serious stress relief." Ryan's eyes darkened with promise. "I think I can help with that." Zara felt bile rise in her throat. These people were discussing their affair like it was a business transaction, casual and meaningless. How could Ryan throw away 8 years of marriage for someone so shallow? As she watched them interact, Zara noticed things that confirmed what she'd already suspected. Brittany was young and selfish, used to getting what she wanted. She demanded Ryan's full attention, pouting when he checked his phone, complaining when he mentioned anything work-related that didn't involve her. Ryan, meanwhile, was clearly infatuated. He hung on her every word, laughed too loudly at her jokes, and looked at her like she was the most fascinating woman in the world. It was pathetic, really. A 35-year-old married man acting like a teenager with his first crush. "Did you book the room for Friday?" Brittany asked, lowering her voice. "Already done. Same place as last time." Ryan pulled out his phone and showed her something on the screen. "I got the suite this time. Thought we deserved an upgrade." Brittany smiled wickedly. "I like the way you think. Did you remember to bring protection?" "Always do. Can't be too careful." Zara's hands clenched around her coffee cup. There was confirmation that they were using the contraceptives she'd found. The same contraceptives that would soon give them the surprise of their lives. After they left, Zara sat in her car and made a phone call to Jordan Williams, the divorce attorney she'd researched online. His reviews were excellent, and he specialized in cases involving infidelity. "Mrs. Johnson, thank you for calling," Jordan said after she explained her situation briefly. "I'd like to meet in person to discuss your options. Do you have documented evidence of the affair?" "Photos, emails, financial records, everything," Zara replied. "I work in healthcare, so I understand the importance of thorough documentation." "Excellent. That will make our case much stronger. Can you come in tomorrow afternoon?" As Zara drove home, she felt a strange sense of calm. Everything was falling into place. She had evidence, legal representation, and a plan for revenge that would expose Ryan and Brittany in the most humiliating way possible. That evening, Ryan was especially attentive at dinner, probably feeling guilty about his lunch date with Brittany. He asked about her day, complimented her cooking, and even suggested they watch a movie together. "You seem happy lately," Zara observed as they settled on the couch. Do I? Ryan seemed genuinely surprised. I guess work is going well. That promotion might actually happen. More lies. Zara knew from his emails that Ryan's work performance had been slipping because he was distracted by his affair. His supervisor had even mentioned concerns about his focus during meetings. I'm proud of you, Zara said, snuggling against his side. You work so hard for us. Ryan's arm tightened around her, and for a moment, Zara almost felt sorry for him. Almost. Then she remembered Brittany's manicured fingers tracing the rim of her coffee cup and the way Ryan had looked at her like she was a prize he'd won. The next afternoon, Zara met with Jordan Williams at his downtown office. He was a sharp-dressed man in his 40s with kind eyes and a no-nonsense attitude. Mrs. Johnson, I've reviewed the evidence you sent over, he said, gesturing to a folder on his desk. This is one of the most well-documented cases I've seen. Your husband has been incredibly careless. What are my options? Zara asked. With evidence this strong, we can pursue a fault-based divorce citing adultery. Given his deception regarding your fertility treatments and the financial resources he spent on this affair, we can ask for a significant portion of marital assets. Jordan explained the process, the timeline, and what Zara could expect. He also gave her advice on protecting herself financially and emotionally during the proceedings. There's one thing I need to ask, Jordan said carefully. Are you planning any confrontation with your husband or his mistress before we file? Zara kept her expression neutral. I'm not a violent person, Mr. Williams. I believe in handling things through proper legal channels. Any kind of retaliation could hurt our case. As Zara left Jordan's office, she reflected on his warning. Technically, what she had planned wasn't retaliation, it was education. She was simply going to teach Ryan and Brittany about the consequences of their choices. That night, she put her plan into motion. While Ryan was in the shower, she carefully opened each contraceptive packet in his gym bag. With surgical precision, she removed the contents and replaced them with small capsules she'd prepared, each one filled with concentrated pepper spray powder. The capsules looked identical to the originals and would dissolve on contact with moisture. By the time Ryan and Brittany realized what was happening, it would be too late. Zara resealed each packet perfectly, using techniques she'd learned from years of handling medical supplies. To the naked eye, nothing looked different. She placed everything back in Ryan's bag exactly as she'd found it, then went downstairs to wait for her husband. When Ryan emerged from the bathroom, hair still damp and smelling like soap, Zara smiled at him from the bed. Everything okay? He asked, noticing her expression. Perfect, Zara replied. Everything is absolutely perfect. Friday morning arrived with a kind of crisp autumn air that made everything feel possible. Zara watched Ryan pack his overnight bag for what he thought would be a romantic weekend with Brittany. He was trying to act normal, but she could see the excitement in his movements, the way he checked his reflection twice in the mirror, the careful selection of his best shirts. Another work conference? Zara asked from the bed, sipping her morning coffee. Unfortunately, yes. The regional meeting in Springfield. Should be back Sunday evening. Ryan's lie came so easily it was almost artistic. Zara knew the truth. She tracked his hotel reservation at the Riverside Hotel, confirmed through Brittany's social media posts that she was also going away for the weekend, and had even spotted Ryan buying champagne and strawberries yesterday evening. I'll miss you, Zara said, getting up to give him a goodbye kiss. Work hard. Ryan held her a moment longer than usual, and she wondered if some part of him felt guilty. I love you, Zara. You know that, right? Of course I do. After Ryan left, Zara called Nicole, her best friend and fellow nurse from the hospital. Girl, you sound different, Nicole said immediately. What's going on? Can you come over? I need to talk to someone and I could use the company this weekend. Nicole arrived within an hour, carrying coffee and donuts from their favorite bakery. She was a petite woman with short natural hair and an infectious laugh, but her expression turned serious when she saw Zara's face. Okay, spill. What happened? Zara told her everything. She showed Nicole the evidence, explained about the divorce lawyer, and described her discovery of Ryan's affair. The only thing she didn't mention was her pepper spray plan. That lying piece of trash. Nicole exploded, pacing around Zara's living room. 8 years of marriage and he's out there playing house with some young girl? And while you're trying to have his baby? I know. It's disgusting. What are you going to do? Please tell me you're not going to forgive him and try to work it out. Not a chance, Zara said firmly. I'm done. I've already filed for divorce. Nicole stopped pacing and stared at her. Wait, what? When? Yesterday. My lawyer says with all the evidence I have, It should be straightforward. Damn, Zara. I'm proud of you for taking control, but are you okay? This must be devastating. It was devastating, but Zara had moved past the crying stage into something colder and more focused. I'm better than okay. I'm free. They spent the afternoon planning Zara's future. Nicole helped her research apartments, they looked at job openings at other hospitals, and they even browsed furniture websites for her new place. You know what? Nicole said as they ate Chinese takeout that evening. This might be the best thing that ever happened to you. Ryan never deserved you anyway. What do you mean? Come on, Zara. You've been dimming your light for years to make him comfortable. You're brilliant, beautiful, successful, and you've been acting like you need his approval for everything. Now you get to remember who you really are. Nicole was right. Somewhere along the way, Zara had become smaller, quieter, more accommodating. She put Ryan's needs first so often that she'd forgotten her own. Saturday morning, Nicole left early for a family commitment, making Zara promise to call if she needed anything. Alone in the house, Zara felt the full weight of what was happening. Her marriage was over. In a matter of hours, Ryan and Brittany would discover her little surprise, and there would be no going back. She spent the day preparing. She packed a bag with essentials and moved it to her car. She gathered important documents and secured them in a safety deposit box at the bank. She even changed her emergency contact information at the hospital from Ryan to Nicole. By evening, everything was ready. Zara had covered all her bases, protected herself legally and financially, and ensured that when the explosion happened, she would be safely out of the blast radius. At 8 p.m., she drove to the Riverside Hotel and parked across the street with a clear view of the entrance. She didn't plan to stay long, just long enough to confirm that her plan had worked. She brought a book and a thermos of coffee, settling in for what might be a lengthy wait. The hotel was busy with weekend guests, couples arriving for romantic getaways, families checking in for events. At 9:30, she spotted Ryan's car pulling into the valet area. Even from a distance, she could see him laughing as he got out, clearly in high spirits. The valet took his keys, and Ryan walked into the hotel lobby with the confidence of a man who thought he was getting away with everything. Zara's phone buzzed with a text from him. Safe in Springfield. Love you. The audacity was breathtaking. 30 minutes later, a red sports car pulled up, and Brittany stepped out wearing a short dress and high heels. She looked excited, checking her reflection in the car window before heading inside. Zara waited. She knew from Ryan's emails that they usually met in the lobby bar for drinks before going up to their room. The pepper spray wouldn't take effect immediately. It needed contact with moisture and a few minutes to fully activate. At 11:15, her patience was rewarded. The hotel's front doors burst open and Ryan stumbled out, doubled over and clutching his stomach. His face was red and swollen, tears streaming down his cheeks as he gasped for air. Behind him, Brittany emerged, her blonde hair disheveled, mascara running down her face as she scratched at her burning skin. Call 911. Ryan screamed to the valet. Something's wrong. We need help. Hotel staff rushed to help them, but there wasn't much they could do except call for medical assistance and try to flush their eyes with water from the lobby fountain. Zara watched the chaos for a few more minutes, then quietly started her car and drove home. She felt no guilt, no regret, only a deep sense of satisfaction. Her phone rang as she was getting ready for bed. Ryan's name appeared on the screen. Hello, she answered, making her voice sleepy. Zara? Ryan's voice was hoarse and strained. Something terrible happened. I'm in the hospital. What? Ryan, what's wrong? Are you hurt? There was some kind of allergic reaction. Food poisoning, maybe. I don't know. The doctors are running tests. Which hospital? I'll come right now. No. Ryan said quickly. No, it's late and they said I'll probably be released in the morning. I don't want you driving alone at night. Are you sure? I'm a nurse, Ryan. I can help. I'm sure. I'll call you in the morning, okay? I love you. After he hung up, Zara smiled in the darkness of their bedroom. Ryan was so concerned about her safety, but he had no idea that the most dangerous person in his life was sleeping in his bed. Tomorrow the real consequences would begin. Sunday morning brought Ryan home earlier than expected, looking like he'd been hit by a truck. His eyes were still red and puffy, his skin had an odd rash around his mouth, and he moved carefully like everything hurt. Zara was waiting with homemade chicken soup and concern written all over her face. Oh my God, Ryan. You look terrible. She rushed to help him with his bag, playing the worried wife perfectly. What did the doctor say? Severe allergic reaction, Ryan croaked, his voice still rough. They think it might have been something I ate at the conference dinner. Had to get shots and everything. Sit down, let me take care of you. Zara guided him to the couch, bringing him water and medicine. Did this happen to anyone else at the conference? Ryan's eyes shifted away from hers. I don't think so. Maybe I'm just sensitive to something they used in the food. Well, you're home now. I'll nurse you back to health. She kissed his forehead, noting how he winced slightly at the contact. Should I call your work to let them know you might need tomorrow off? No, Ryan said quickly. No, I already handled it. Told them I might be late coming in. Zara nodded, hiding her smile. Of course he didn't want her calling his work. That would risk exposing his lie about the conference that never existed. Over the next few days, Zara played the role of devoted caretaker while Ryan recovered from his mysterious illness. She brought him meals in bed, monitored his symptoms, and listened patiently as he complained about feeling unwell. Meanwhile, she was busy behind the scenes. Jordan Williams had filed the divorce papers, and they were waiting for the right moment to serve them. Zara had also found the perfect apartment, a bright 2-bedroom place near the hospital with a view of the river. On Tuesday, Nicole stopped by to check on them both. How's the patient? She asked, though Zara had already filled her in on Ryan's condition. Much better, Ryan said from the couch, where he was surrounded by tissues and empty soup bowls. Just glad to be home. What exactly happened? Zara said it was food poisoning. Allergic reaction, Ryan corrected. Doctors aren't sure to what, but it hit me hard. Nicole glanced at Zara, who kept her expression neutral. That's scary. Good thing it wasn't more serious. After Nicole left, she texted Zara, Girl, if I didn't know better, I'd say he looks like someone who got pepper sprayed. Just saying. Zara responded with a simple emoji, smiling face with halo. Wednesday brought unexpected drama when Brittany called Ryan's phone while Zara was in the room. She watched his face go pale as he looked at the caller ID. Work? Zara asked innocently. Yeah, probably about the Morrison account. Ryan let it go to voicemail, then excused himself to the bathroom to call back. Zara crept close to the bathroom door and heard fragments of their whispered conversation. Can't talk now? Zara's right here. Don't know what happened. Need to be careful. When Ryan emerged, he looked stressed. Everything okay? Zara asked. Just work stuff. You know how it is. That afternoon, while Ryan napped, Zara checked his phone. Brittany had called 4 times and sent several texts. We need to talk about what happened. This can't be a coincidence. I'm scared something is really wrong. Call me when you can. Zara deleted the texts and call logs, then put the phone back exactly where Ryan had left it. On Thursday, Jordan Williams called with an update. Mrs. Johnson, we're ready to serve the papers. I recommend doing it at his workplace for maximum impact and to ensure there are witnesses. Actually, Zara said, I have a better idea. Friday afternoon, exactly 1 week after Ryan's weekend of romance with Brittany, Zara put the final phase of her plan into motion. She discovered through Ryan's computer that he and Brittany had planned another hotel meeting, this time for Friday evening after work. Apparently, they'd convinced themselves that the previous weekend's incident was just bad luck, maybe something wrong with the hotel food or cleaning products. How wrong they were. This time, Zara had been even more creative. She'd replaced not just the contraceptives but also the breath mints and even Ryan's cologne with pepper spray solutions. If they wanted to continue their affair despite the warning they'd already received, she'd make sure they regretted it. As she prepared to leave the house for her evening shift at the hospital, Zara felt a sense of completion. Tonight would be the end of Ryan and Brittany's affair, one way or another. Working late again? Ryan asked as she gathered her things. Double shift. We're short-staffed. She kissed his cheek, noting how he still smelled like the medicated ointment he'd been using for his rash. Will you be okay by yourself? I think so. Might just order pizza and watch TV. Sounds perfect. Get some rest. As Zara drove to the hospital, she reflected on how much her life had changed in just 2 weeks. Soon she'd be free of Ryan's lies, starting fresh with her own place, her own money, her own choices. She thought about the woman she'd been when she found those contraceptives in Ryan's bag, shocked, hurt, devastated. That woman felt like a stranger now. In her place was someone stronger, smarter, more strategic. Someone who didn't accept betrayal lying down. Someone who fought back. At the hospital, Zara worked her shift with unusual energy. She was helpful with difficult patients, efficient with paperwork, and even volunteered to stay late when they needed extra coverage. You're in a good mood tonight, observed Dr. Peterson, the attending physician. Just feeling grateful, Zara replied. Sometimes it takes a crisis to remind you what's really important. Around midnight, her phone buzzed with a text from Ryan. Don't feel well again. Going to bed early. Zara smiled as she deleted the message. Phase 2 of her plan was clearly underway. By morning, Ryan and Brittany would have learned their lesson once and for all. And Zara would be ready to start the next chapter of her life, finally free from the weight of their betrayal. Saturday morning brought the confirmation Zara had been waiting for. Ryan didn't come home Friday night, and his phone went straight to voicemail. She knew exactly where he was, back at the emergency room, probably in even worse condition than the previous weekend. She was proven right when Ryan finally called at 10 a.m., his voice barely a whisper. Zara, I'm in the hospital again. What? Ryan, this is the second time. What's happening? I don't know. The doctors are running more tests. This time it's worse. My throat is swollen, my skin is burning, and I can barely see. Zara injected just the right amount of panic into her voice. Which hospital? I'm coming right now. St. Mary's downtown. But Zara, they're talking about keeping me for observation. Something about possible exposure to an irritant. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Zara hung up and smiled. St. Mary's was across town from where she worked, which meant Ryan had been closer to the Riverside Hotel when his symptoms hit. Perfect. She drove to the hospital, mentally preparing for the performance of her life. In the parking lot, she took a moment to compose herself, letting a few genuine tears fall. After all, her marriage really was ending. That part wasn't an act. The emergency room was busy, but Zara found Ryan quickly. He was in a private room hooked up to N4, his face covered in angry red welts. His eyes were so swollen he could barely open them. Oh honey, Zara breathed, rushing to his side. You look awful. What did the doctors say? They think I've been exposed to some kind of chemical irritant, Ryan whispered. Possibly pepper spray or something similar. But I can't figure out where it would have come from. Pepper spray? That's so random. Where could you have encountered that? Ryan's eyes shifted away from hers, even though he could barely see her. I'm not sure. Maybe at the hotel restaurant? Or in the elevator? Hotel restaurant? I thought you said this happened at home. I meant, when I went out for dinner last night. Got takeout from that new place downtown. More lies, even from a hospital bed. Zara had to admire his commitment to the deception. A doctor entered the room, a tired-looking woman in her 50s who introduced herself as Dr. Martinez. Mrs. Johnson? I'm treating your husband. Can I speak with you privately? They stepped into the hallway, where Dr. Martinez explained Ryan's condition in clinical terms. He's been exposed to a significant amount of capsaicin, that's the active ingredient in pepper spray. This is the second time in a week, which is highly unusual. Second time? He was treated at Memorial Hospital last weekend for similar symptoms. The fact that this has happened twice suggests either extreme bad luck or... Dr. Martinez paused diplomatically. Or what? Well, sometimes we see repeated exposure in cases of domestic violence or harassment. Is there anyone who might want to hurt your husband? Zara widened her eyes in shock. No, Ryan doesn't have any enemies. He works in insurance. It's not exactly a dangerous job. What about his activities outside work? Anywhere he goes regularly where he might encounter someone with access to pepper spray? Just the gym, really? And work? He's been putting in long hours lately. Zara paused, then asked the question she knew would plant seeds of doubt. Doctor, is it possible someone is deliberately targeting him? It's possible, though uncommon. I'd recommend he file a police report and maybe vary his routine for a while. When they returned to Ryan's room, Zara sat beside his bed and took his hand. Ryan, Dr. Martinez thinks someone might be doing this to you on purpose. What? That's crazy. Who would want to hurt me? I don't know, but we need to think. Have you had any problems at work? Anyone acting strange or hostile? Ryan was quiet for a long moment. Zara could practically see the wheels turning in his head as he tried to figure out how to answer without revealing his affair. There have been some tensions at the office, he finally admitted. Budget cuts, people worried about layoffs. Maybe someone blames me for the reorganization. We should call the police. No, Ryan said quickly. I mean, let's wait and see if this happens again. Could just be a coincidence. Zara squeezed his hand. Honey, this is your health we're talking about. 2 pepper spray attacks in a week isn't a coincidence. A nurse entered to check Ryan's vitals, and Zara stepped out to use the restroom. In the hallway, she spotted a familiar figure near the information desk, Brittany Cole, wearing large sunglasses and a scarf despite the mild weather. Zara ducked behind a pillar and watched as Brittany approached the desk. "I'm here to see Ryan Johnson," Brittany said quietly. "I'm a coworker." "I'm sorry, but Mr. Johnson is only seeing immediate family right now," the receptionist replied. "Can you at least tell me how he is? We worked together, and when he didn't come in yesterday, I can't give out patient information to non-family members." Brittany looked frustrated and worried. Good. She was probably suffering from her own pepper spray exposure and wondering what the hell was happening to her affair partner. Zara waited until Brittany left, then returned to Ryan's room. "Feeling any better?" she asked, settling back into her chair. "A little. The 4 fluids are helping." Ryan reached for her hand. "Zara, I need to tell you something." For a moment, Zara's heart skipped. Was he about to confess? "I've been thinking about how fragile life is," Ryan continued. "How quickly things can change. And I realize I haven't been the husband you deserve lately." "What do you mean?" "I've been distant, working too much, not paying enough attention to you. To us." Ryan's swollen eyes filled with tears. "I promise I'm going to do better. You're the most important thing in my life." The irony was so thick Zara could taste it. Here was Ryan, lying in a hospital bed because of his affair, promising to be a better husband while still lying about where he'd been and what he'd been doing. "I love you too," she said, because it was what the old Zara would have said. "We'll get through this together." That afternoon, while Ryan slept, Zara stepped outside to call Jordan Williams. "The timing is perfect," Jordan said after she updated him on the situation. "While he's distracted by his medical issues, we can move forward with serving the papers. I recommend we do it Monday morning at his workplace. Actually, I think Sunday would be better, while he's still recovering and off guard." "Are you sure? It might seem harsh, serving him divorce papers while he's been in the hospital." "Mr. Williams, my husband has been lying to me for months while I went through fertility treatments, spending our money on another woman, and exposing me to God knows what diseases. I'm not concerned about seeming harsh." "Point taken. Sunday it is." As Zara hung up, she felt a surge of anticipation. Tomorrow the final act of her plan would begin. Ryan would learn that his wife wasn't the naive, trusting woman he thought she was. And Brittany Cole would discover that some women don't just walk away when their marriages are threatened. They fight back. Sunday morning arrived with gray clouds and the promise of rain, which seemed fitting for what Zara had planned. Ryan was being discharged from the hospital with a prescription for steroids and strict instructions to avoid whatever was causing his allergic reactions. "They want me to see an allergist," Ryan said as Zara helped him into the passenger seat of her car. "Figure out what I'm so sensitive to." "That's a good idea. We can't have you ending up in the emergency room every weekend." The irony wasn't lost on either of them, though only Zara understood why. When they arrived home, Ryan went straight to bed while Zara made a show of caring for him, bringing him tea and checking his temperature. She was waiting for the perfect moment, and it came when Ryan's phone rang with a call from Brittany. "Don't answer that," Zara said firmly as Ryan reached for the phone. "It might be work. It's Sunday and you're recovering from a medical emergency. Whatever it is can wait until tomorrow." She picked up his phone and turned it off. "You need rest, not work stress." Ryan looked like he wanted to argue but was too weak to fight. "You're right. I'll deal with everything tomorrow." "Actually," Zara said, sitting on the edge of the bed, "there's something we need to deal with today." She pulled out the divorce papers Jordan had prepared and set them on the nightstand. "What's this?" Ryan asked, squinting at the documents with his swollen eyes. "Divorce papers. I'm filing for divorce, Ryan." The words hung in the air like a bomb that had just exploded. Ryan struggled to sit up, his face going pale beneath the angry red welts. "What? Zara, what are you talking about? Is this because I've been in the hospital? I know I've been distant lately, but it's because you've been cheating on me with Brittany Cole." Ryan's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. "What? That's crazy. Brittany is just a coworker." Zara pulled out her laptop and opened the folder labeled Evidence. She turned the screen toward Ryan, showing him the screenshots of his emails with Brittany. "Would you like me to read some of these out loud? Here's a good one. Can't wait to taste you again. Zara has no idea what she's missing." Ryan's face went from pale to gray. "Zara, I can explain." Or this one, playing the part at our anniversary dinner. 3 more hours and I'll be with someone who actually excites me." "Stop." Ryan's voice was barely a whisper. "Oh, but this is my favorite," Zara continued, her voice getting stronger with each revelation. "You told her about our fertility treatments. Made jokes about my baby obsession. shared intimate details about our marriage like it was entertainment. Tears were streaming down Ryan's face now, though whether from the pepper spray damage or genuine emotion, Zara couldn't tell. "How long have you known?" he asked finally. 3 weeks. Since I found the contraceptives in your gym bag." Ryan's eyes widened as understanding dawned. The contraceptives were replaced with pepper spray capsules. Both weekends. Zara's smile was cold and satisfied. "Did you really think I'd just sit there and let you make a fool of me? You did this?" "The hospital visits. I did what any intelligent woman would do when she discovered her husband was betraying her. I fought back." Ryan tried to get out of bed, but his legs were shaky and his vision was still impaired. "Zara, that's assault. You could have seriously hurt us." "Like you seriously hurt me? Like you hurt our marriage, our future, everything we built together?" Zara stood up, towering over him. "Your lucky pepper spray was all you got. This is insane. You're insane." "No, Ryan. I'm done. I'm done being the faithful wife while you play house with your little girlfriend. I'm done pretending I don't know what you've been doing. And I'm definitely done caring about your feelings." She gathered the divorce papers and put them back in her bag. "You have 30 days to respond to these. Jordan Williams is my attorney, and he'll be in touch about asset division." "Wait." Ryan struggled to focus on her through his swollen eyes. "Zara, please. We can work this out. I'll end things with Brittany. I'll do whatever you want." "Too late. You made your choice when you decided to cheat on me. Now you get to live with the consequences." Zara headed for the door, then turned back. "Oh, and Ryan? You might want to warn Brittany about those pepper spray symptoms. Though I suspect she's already figured it out." As she left the bedroom, Zara heard Ryan fumbling for his phone, probably trying to call Brittany. Let him. They could commiserate together about their burning eyes and ruined affair. Downstairs, Zara packed the last of her belongings into boxes she'd hidden in the garage. Everything important was already in her car or in storage. She was ready to walk away from this house, this marriage, this life that had been built on lies. Her phone rang as she loaded the final box. It was Nicole. "How did it go?" Nicole asked immediately. "It's done. I served him the papers and told him I know about the affair." "How did he react?" "Like a man who's been caught red-handed and pepper sprayed twice," Zara said with grim satisfaction. "You're my hero, you know that? Most women would have taken him back, tried to work it out, blamed themselves. But you made sure he'll never forget what it costs to betray you." As Zara drove away from the house she'd shared with Ryan for 4 years, she felt something she hadn't experienced in months: freedom. The weight of pretending, of being the unknowing victim, of living a lie had lifted from her shoulders. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "This isn't over. You're going to pay for what you did to us." Zara recognized Brittany's writing style from the social media post she'd studied. She screenshotted the threatening message and forwarded it to Jordan Williams with a note. "Evidence of harassment. Might be useful in the divorce proceedings." Then she blocked the number and kept driving toward her new life. Behind her, Ryan was probably still trying to call Brittany, still trying to salvage an affair that had cost them both their dignity and their health. Ahead of her was an apartment with her name on the lease, a job where she was respected and valued, and a future that belonged entirely to her. It was going to be a good life. Monday morning found Zara in her new apartment, sipping coffee from her favorite mug as she watched the sunrise over the river. She'd slept better than she had in months, finally free from the weight of Ryan's lies and the stress of maintaining her facade. Her phone had been buzzing all morning with calls from Ryan, but she'd turned it off after the 5th attempt. Whatever he had to say could go through her lawyer. At 9 a.m., Jordan Williams called her work number. "Mrs. Johnson, I wanted to update you on yesterday's developments. Your husband has retained an attorney, Stephen Chin from Burton and Associates." "Good. That means he's taking this seriously." "There's something else. His lawyer called this morning asking about a settlement conference. Apparently Mr. Johnson is eager to avoid a prolonged court battle." Zara wasn't surprised. Ryan's affair was well documented, and his professional reputation would be destroyed if the details became public. He worked in insurance where trust and integrity were essential. News of his infidelity would torpedo his career. "What kind of settlement are they proposing?" she asked. "They're willing to give you 60% of marital assets, plus alimony for 2 years. It's actually quite generous." "And in exchange? You agree not to publicize the affair or pursue additional damages for emotional distress." Zara considered the offer. It would give her financial security and a clean break from Ryan. But part of her wanted him to suffer more consequences for his betrayal. Can I think about it? Of course. But Mrs. Johnson, I should warn you if this goes to trial, details about your retaliation might come to light. The pepper spray incident could complicate things. Zara had expected this. What's your recommendation? Take the settlement. You get what you deserve financially, and you avoid any potential legal complications from your own actions. After hanging up, Zara walked through her new apartment, admiring the bright, open spaces that were entirely hers. The master bedroom had a walk-in closet that didn't smell like another woman's perfume. The kitchen had granite countertops where she could cook meals for one without feeling guilty. The living room had a view of the river where she could read, think, and heal. This was her sanctuary, her fresh start. That afternoon she received an unexpected visitor. Nicole knocked on her door carrying a bottle of champagne and a housewarming gift. I brought bubbly to celebrate your freedom, Nicole announced, setting the champagne on Zara's new dining table. It's still early to celebrate. The divorce isn't final yet. Girl, please. You've already won. Ryan knows it, his lawyer knows it, and that trashy mistress of his definitely knows it. Nicole popped the cork with dramatic flair. Besides, I have gossip. Oh. I ran into Carla from Ryan's office at the grocery store. Apparently, things have been very interesting at his job lately. Nicole poured champagne into 2 glasses and settled onto Zara's new sofa. So, Brittany hasn't been to work since last weekend. Called in sick with some mysterious illness that's affecting her eyes and throat. How unfortunate, Zara said dryly. And Ryan came in this morning looking like he'd been hit by a truck. Red, swollen face, walking like everything hurt. His supervisor asked if he needed to take sick leave. I hope he gets the medical attention he needs. But here's the best part, Nicole continued, clearly enjoying herself. Carla said there are rumors flying around the office about Ryan and Brittany. Apparently they both disappeared for the same weekend, both came back looking sick, and now they're both acting weird and secretive. Zara sipped her champagne thoughtfully. Office gossip can be so destructive. Carla also mentioned that Brittany's ex-boyfriend now has been calling the office looking for her. Seems she broke up with him suddenly a few months ago, and he just found out she was cheating on him. With who? 3 guesses. Nicole grinned wickedly. Trevor apparently found some emails on her laptop and figured out the whole thing. He's been telling everyone who'll listen about how she destroyed their 3-year relationship for a married man. Zara felt a twist of satisfaction. Trevor had been an innocent victim in Brittany's selfishness, just like she had been. At least now he knew the truth. There's more, Nicole said. Ryan's supervisor has been asking questions about his work performance lately. Seems he's been distracted, missing deadlines, making mistakes. And with all the drama and gossip, HR is getting involved. That must be stressful for him. Oh, it gets better. Carla heard that someone, probably Trevor, sent an anonymous tip to HR about the affair. They're launching an investigation since Ryan and Brittany are in the same department and there could be issues with favoritism or harassment. Zara raised her champagne glass. To consequences. To consequences, Nicole agreed, clinking their glasses together. As they talked, Zara felt the last of her anger and hurt transforming into something lighter. Ryan and Brittany were facing the natural results of their choices: ruined reputations, damaged careers, destroyed relationships, and the humiliation of having their affair exposed to everyone who mattered. She didn't need to do anything else. The truth was handling her revenge for her. You know what I'm proudest of? Zara said as they finished the champagne. What? I didn't become bitter. I didn't let their betrayal turn me into someone I didn't recognize. I fought back, but I did it smart. I protected myself, got justice, and moved on. That's because you're a strong woman who knows her worth. Ryan never deserved you, and now he knows it. That evening, after Nicole left, Zara sat on her balcony watching the sun set over the river. Her phone buzzed with another call from Ryan, but she let it go to voicemail. Later, she listened to his message. Zara, please call me back. I know I screwed up, but we can fix this. I'll do whatever it takes. I love you. Please don't throw away 8 years of marriage. She deleted the message without a second thought. 8 years of marriage hadn't meant anything to Ryan when he was with Brittany. It hadn't stopped him from lying, cheating, or making jokes about his wife to his mistress. He'd thrown away their marriage the moment he decided another woman was worth more than his vows. Now he could live with that choice. Zara poured herself a glass of wine and opened the book she'd been wanting to read for months. For the first time in years, she had time for herself, for her own interests, for her own happiness. It felt like the first day of the rest of her life. 6 months later, Zara barely recognized the woman she'd been when she first found those contraceptives in Ryan's gym bag. The scared, hurt wife had been replaced by someone confident, independent, and genuinely happy. Her divorce had been finalized 3 months ago with the settlement Jordan recommended. She'd gotten 60% of their marital assets, including her share of the house equity, which had allowed her to buy a small but beautiful condo near the hospital. Ryan kept the house and the mortgage payments that came with it. The best part was that she'd also gotten the car she wanted, a red convertible that made her feel young and free every time she drove it to work. "You're glowing," Nicole observed as they met for their regular Friday lunch at a new cafe downtown. "Seriously, you look 10 years younger." "I feel 10 years younger," Zara laughed, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. She'd cut it into a shorter, more modern style that framed her face beautifully. "Turns out, not living with a lying cheater is great for your health. Have you heard anything about Ryan lately?" "Only what Jordan tells me, and that's not much." Zara sipped her iced tea, enjoying the way the afternoon sun felt on her face. "Apparently he's struggling financially. The house payments are tough on one salary, especially with his reduced income." "Reduced income?" "He got demoted at work after the HR investigation. Turns out, having an affair with a subordinate is a violation of company policy." "Who knew?" Zara's tone was dry but not bitter. Nicole nearly choked on her sandwich. "He got demoted?" "Brittany got fired outright, but Ryan has seniority and tenure, so they just moved him to a different department with a significant pay cut." Zara shrugged. "Play stupid games, win stupid prizes." "What about Brittany? What happened to her?" "Last I heard, she moved back in with her parents. Trevor made sure everyone in their social circle knew about the affair, so she burned a lot of bridges." Zara felt no sympathy for the woman who'd helped destroy her marriage. "But enough about them. I have news." "Good news?" "Great news. I got the promotion to head nurse in the cardiac unit." Nicole squealed with excitement, causing other diners to look their way. "Zara, that's amazing. When do you start?" "Next month. It comes with a significant raise in my own office." Zara grinned. "I'm finally moving up in my career instead of putting my dreams on hold for someone else's comfort." "This calls for celebration. Dinner and drinks this weekend?" "Actually, I have a date Saturday night." Nicole's eyebrows shot up. "A date? With who? When did this happen? Why didn't you tell me?" "His name is Andre and he owns the coffee shop 2 blocks from the hospital. I've been stopping there after work for the past month, and we finally started talking beyond the usual please." "Tell me everything." Zara smiled, thinking about Andre. He was 34, divorced with no kids, and had the kindest eyes she'd ever seen. Unlike Ryan, who'd always been smooth and polished, Andre was genuine and down to earth. He had calloused hands from working in his shop, laughed easily and listened when she talked. "He asked me out last week while I was waiting for my latte. Very straightforward, no games, no mixed signals. Just, would you like to have dinner with me Saturday? And you said yes." "I said yes." Zara felt a flutter of excitement in her stomach. "We're going to that new Italian place on 5th Street. I'm so proud of you for putting yourself out there. After everything you went through with Ryan, it would have been easy to swear off men entirely." "I thought about it," Zara admitted. "But then I realized that would be letting Ryan steal even more from me. He already took 8 years of my life and my ability to trust easily. I wasn't going to let him take my future happiness too." They finished lunch and walked back toward the hospital, where Zara was picking up an extra shift. As they approached the main entrance, Nicole grabbed her arm. "Don't look now, but that's Ryan sitting in the visitor parking lot." Zara glanced toward the parking area and spotted Ryan's car. He was sitting behind the wheel, staring at the hospital entrance like he was waiting for something. Or someone. "How long do you think he's been there?" Nicole asked. "I don't know and I don't care." Zara walked toward the entrance without breaking stride. "If he wants to waste his Saturday afternoon sitting in a parking lot, that's his choice. Aren't you worried? What if he tries to talk to you? Then I'll remind him that all communication goes through our lawyers." Zara pulled out her phone. "And if he keeps showing up at my workplace, I'll call security." As they entered the hospital, Zara felt Ryan's eyes on her back but didn't turn around. She'd worked too hard building her new life to let his presence disrupt her peace. "You've gotten so strong," Nicole said as they rode the elevator to the cardiac unit. "I had to. The alternative was letting his betrayal define the rest of my life." That evening, as Zara prepared for bed in her quiet, peaceful condo, she reflected on how much had changed. 6 months ago, she'd been a woman who discovered her husband's affair and felt her world collapse. Tonight, she was a woman with a promotion, a date with a kind man, and a future full of possibilities. Her phone buzzed with a text from Andre, looking forward to tomorrow night. Sweet dreams, beautiful. Zara smiled as she replied, me too. Good night. She turned off the lights and settled into bed, thinking about the red dress she'd bought for their date and the way Andre's eyes crinkled when he smiled. For the first time in years, she was excited about the future instead of just surviving the present. Ryan could sit in parking lots all he wanted. She was done looking backward. 1 year after finding those contraceptives in Ryan's gym bag, Zara stood in the kitchen of her beautiful new house, putting the finishing touches on dinner for Andre. The house was perfect, a 3-bedroom colonial with a garden, exactly what she'd always dreamed of but never thought she could afford on her own. The promotion to head nurse had come with an even bigger raise than expected, and she'd managed to save enough for a down payment within 8 months of her divorce being finalized. It felt incredible to have her name alone on the deed, to make decisions about paint colors and furniture without having to consider anyone else's opinion. Something smells amazing, Andre said, wrapping his arms around her waist from behind and kissing her neck. Herb-crusted salmon with roasted vegetables. Your favorite. You're my favorite, he murmured against her ear, making her laugh. They'd been together for 8 months now, taking things slowly and building something real. Andre was everything Ryan had never been: honest, supportive, and completely devoted to her happiness. He'd never made her feel like she had to compete for his attention or question her worth. How was your day? Zara asked, turning in his arms to face him. Good. The new location is finally coming together. We should be able to open the second shop next month. Andre's coffee business was thriving, and he was expanding to a location near the university. Zara was proud of his success and loved watching him pursue his dreams with passion and integrity. I'm proud of you, she said, straightening his collar. You work so hard for what you want. I learned from the best. You've shown me what real strength looks like. As they sat down to dinner, Zara's phone rang. She glanced at the caller ID and frowned. Ryan? Andre asked, noticing her expression. Yeah. He calls sometimes, but I never answer. Zara silenced the phone and put it aside. Tonight is about us. They talked about Andre's business plans, Zara's ideas for redecorating the guest bedroom, and their upcoming vacation to Barbados. It was the kind of comfortable, intimate conversation that came from two people who genuinely enjoyed each other's company. After dinner, they settled on the couch with wine, and Andre pulled out his laptop. I wanted to show you something, he said, opening a real estate website. I've been looking at houses near yours. Nothing serious yet, but I thought maybe we could start thinking about the future. Zara's heart fluttered with happiness. You want to move closer? I want to move closer to you. We've been together long enough that I think we both know this is serious. Very serious, Zara agreed, snuggling against his side. As they browsed house listings together, Zara marveled at how different this felt from her marriage to Ryan. There was no pressure, no hidden agendas, no lies. Just two adults who cared about each other making plans for a shared future. There's something else, Andre said, closing the laptop and turning to face her. I know we've talked about taking things slow and I respect that. But I need you to know that I'm in love with you, Zara. Completely, totally in love with you. I love you too, she said without hesitation. I have for months. They kissed, soft and sweet and full of promise, and Zara felt the last piece of her heart heal from Ryan's betrayal. Later, as Andre slept beside her, Zara looked out the bedroom window at the garden she'd planted herself. Tomorrow she'd check on the tomatoes she was growing, water the flowers she'd chosen, and maybe start planning the herb garden Andre had suggested. Her phone buzzed with a voicemail notification, probably from Ryan's earlier call. Curious despite herself, she listened to the message. Zara, it's Ryan. I know you probably won't listen to this, but I needed to try one more time. I saw you at the hospital last month with that guy and you looked happy. Really happy. I wanted to say I'm sorry. Not just for the affair but for everything. For taking you for granted, for lying to you, for making you feel like you weren't enough. You were always too good for me. His voice cracked slightly. I don't expect forgiveness and I'm not asking you to take me back. I just wanted you to know that I realize what I lost. I hope he treats you the way you deserve to be treated. Zara deleted the message and put her phone away. Ryan's apology was a year too late and completely irrelevant to her current happiness. She thought about the woman she'd been when she first discovered his betrayal, devastated, humiliated, unsure of her worth. That woman had been replaced by someone stronger, wiser, and infinitely happier. The pepper spray plan had been about revenge, but it had given her so much more than satisfaction. It had given her power over her own narrative, control over her future, and the confidence to demand better from life. Now, a year later, she had everything she'd ever wanted: a successful career, financial independence, a beautiful home, and a man who loved her completely. Ryan had lost his marriage, his job status, his reputation, and his self-respect. The contrast wasn't lost on her. As she drifted off to sleep in Andre's arms, Zara smiled, thinking about tomorrow. She had a house to enjoy, a garden to tend, a business to support, and a relationship to nurture. Her life was full of possibilities and free from lies. It had taken finding women's protection in her husband's gym bag to discover her own strength, but she'd emerged from the betrayal better than she'd ever imagined possible. Sometimes the worst thing that happened to you turned out to be the best thing that could have happened. And sometimes the sweetest revenge was simply living well.